Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about Twitter once more, but this time we're not going to be talking about Kanye West, but more about stupid Twitter is what I like to call it. So recently there have been these uproars, and I don't know what else to call them apart from uproars, over the most ridiculous fucking things, and I'm sure you've seen a few of these tweets, but others I just wanted to address and kind of talk about. These days it's undeniable that people use social media to virtue signal, to gatekeep, to do a series of things that they think they're supposed to do, or I don't really know what goes through the head of those people, but we're just gonna look at that whole kind of dark side of Twitter. I don't know what to call it.
Oh God! No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Okay, so first of all, there's the prom dress. So this girl pretty much went to her prom wearing a traditional Chinese getup. I don't recall the name and I don't want to butcher it, so I'm just not going to say it, but wearing a traditional Chinese garment. Obviously, this had to be taken to an extreme level where someone, shown here, says, "My culture is not your goddamn prom dress." Here are bigger pictures of like her in the prom dress or whatever. I think this is ridiculous, and I retweeted something that H3H3 said. So H3H3, Ethan Klein, said, "So this dude found a random girl online and convinced 100K plus people to bully her over a prom dress. Bro, if your idea of your culture is so shallow that it can be boiled down to a dress, then if anyone is insulting it, it's you." And I completely agree with that. And aside from that, there is this whole discussion of there is appreciation and then there's mocking. So if she was doing some kind of racist thing while wearing this dress, indicating that she was trying to mock a culture, that's a completely different thing, and that's something that I can understand being angry over. If instead a girl chooses prom, which prom is a super hyped up thing, it doesn't mean a lot to everyone, but it is a hyped up thing, so I'm assuming that if she's going, she cares. And if she cares, she wants to look good, so she's gonna wear something that she think makes her looks good. So she's obviously not mocking the dress if she's wearing it to a rather important event, right? So is there the need to lose your fucking shit? Now, there almost never is a reason to lose your shit like that, but this is social media, so I feel like not only do people feel like they can be the gatekeeper, but they also, I think, forget real life problems.
Diamond earring came off in the ocean and it's gone. And there's people that are dying.
I'm by no means negating or minimizing small problems because those have to be addressed too, but I just don't think this is one of those problems, and I don't think that it was necessary to even start a discussion over wearing a dress. I mean, my question is, so if she were wearing a dress by Giorgio Armani, is it taking advantage of my Italian culture? Is that the case? If she was wearing Versace too, is no one allowed to wear something that is from a different culture? I don't know. I just don't understand why it has to be such a big deal, but I digress. So then, My Name is Josephine responded to a tweet that's now deleted, but she posted a picture of the tweet, and the tweet originally said, "The difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation is whether or not you were invited to partake in our culture. The amount of Chinese people, including myself, who are offended by this reveals that you were not invited. Do better." So then, My Name is Josephine responded saying, "So how do these invitations work? Do you need one Chinese person to invite you? Multiple? What if one says yes and the other says no? Then what? Who is the representative of all Chinese people? Can I email them for an invitation? I have so many questions." And Josephine brings up a bunch of really great points as always, because how can you invite someone to partake and have a representative that is really the person who actually represents how most Chinese people feel, or whatever other culture in other situations, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, shouldn't the motive be the most important thing? Because just because you invite someone, it doesn't mean that they're going to appreciate your culture. They could still mock your culture after you've invited them. So I don't understand even how that whole thing would work. And it just seems like such a huge complication for such a minute kind of thing. Imagine having to jump through hoops to wear a fucking dress to prom. Is this really where we're at now?
Why are we still here? just to suffer.
Moving on, plenty of other stupidity occurred because this is Twitter, so we all know my disappointment is disappointed by definition. Dear old darling Halsey, the snowflake, if there ever was one, the tumblerina, if there ever was one, says, I've been traveling for years now and it's been so frustrating that the hotel toiletry industry entirely alienates people of color. I can't use this perfumed, watered down white people shampoo, neither can 50% of your customers. Annoying. Then she went on to say, it's not just hotels. I stayed in a psychiatric hospital as a teenager and they didn't have products for any patients who were people of color. It's hard enough being in there as it is, but then you're gonna too feel ugly and dry and frizzy too? Nah. Anyways, y'all still missing the point. I think we can all agree, and we can all say this in unison, hotel shampoos suck. They suck. Every time after I use a hotel shampoo, I put like a pile of their shitty conditioner to try to make up for what seems like damage to my hair. And that's a problem that I'd say generally, and I hate using this term, but privileged people would use, because most of the time if you are in a hotel that is giving you shampoo, you're doing better than, say, people who can't afford to go in a hotel in the first place. And I'm not saying that just because you're privileged the problem isn't real or whatever, but this is such a stupid fucking problem. Like, bring your own shampoo, because there's no real solution to this. There's no real solution that would benefit specifically every group and subgroup. I don't know how we could cater to each single different type of hair. I just don't think it's realistic. Anyways, it's funny to me because then she mentions that she stayed in a psychiatric hospital as a teenager and they didn't have hair products there, and I'm just like, I understand that there are small things such as, you know, looking nice, feeling good, feeling clean, feeling like your hair looks good. I understand that that can help with your self-confidence and feeling positive about life. I definitely don't underestimate that whatsoever, but it's also kind of ridiculous to me that you're talking about your experience in a psychiatric hospital, and then one of the biggest problems that you're going to point out about that hospital is the shampoo. Like, I'm sure you were struggling with plenty of heavier and more important things, and there are a lot of problems even just within institutions like psychiatric hospitals, so it just seemed a little bit ridiculous to drag that in. I mean, if she could have not typed anything and it would have been a better day for us all, probably. Then she goes on to say, it's about being made to feel included, which is obviously a far greater problem than shampoo. I never want to talk about soap again. If it's a far greater problem than shampoo, why don't you give us the big deal example rather than the minute example? Because I know that the minute example can work if you want to use it as a metaphor or an analogy, but it's just like, if you have the bigger problem, if you have the hard-hitting problem, why don't you fucking use that problem instead? Just an idea. So then, Shashui tweeted, only white culture can be shared, everything else is appropriation. My race invented paper, so you assholes use something else to wipe your butts. While we were at it, give me all your cash. I thought that was funny and pretty on point, honestly. Then she also goes on to say, it's ridiculous that these can get offended over a non-white chick wearing a cheapao. I think that's how it goes. While 1, complaining in English, and 2, probably dressed in Western clothes, 3, while using a Western invention, the internet. So she really does make some valid points here, because essentially, if we're all gonna limit or segregate, to use the proper word, what people can wear and what people can do, and who can wear what and who can do what, oh my god, can you imagine the fucking complications? Like, I just imagine charts upon charts of, if you're white, XYZ is not allowed for you. If you're black, XYZ is not allowed for you. Like, this is so unnecessary and so polarizing and stupid, because it's just like, if we want to work on societal problems, we're gonna have to work together, and if we have divides over stupid things like what a girl wears to prom, this shit is not gonna go well. Let me tell you, it's not gonna go well. So in the midst of all this, Ricky Gervais tweets, right on time, saying, those who are determined to be offended will discover provocation somewhere. We cannot possibly adjust enough to please the fanatics, and it is degrading to make the attempt. Christopher Hitchens. And I completely agree, and I think that, you know, appeasement of sorts can be given in some places, but here it's just so ridiculous because it is an ongoing, just fucking avalanche of shit coming our way because there's offense over things that are not worth being offended. And the real problem with this sensitivity is that I think it takes away from us talking about more important topics because everyone's screaming about a prom dress, you know? Anyways, guys, that's all I've really got for you today. But let me know what you guys think about all of this. Where do you stand on the whole issue of, I guess, appropriation, but more than that, just this idea of inviting versus taking and all this bullshit, really. Let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, as always, to my patrons, and let's get right into the fan art.